So let us talk the Masons and how they come from England, right? There's a lot of places that prove my point. I hope I wrote these down. They're on this old English map. There was an invasion of England in 1066. Okay, and a lot of these stories, Robin Hood, Nottingham, which is a place. The sheriff of Nottingham is actually a place, right? Um, so the New York order, right, is an order of the English royal house rule from 1461 to 1481. Excuse me, 1485. And in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and they had those little Templar flags, which are similar to the old English flags, I believe. The white with one cross, and then it became the British Empire, the double cross, right? Okay, so there are 13 degrees in the York Rite. Remember, New York order of the English royal house that ruled England 1461, 1485, Columbus 1492. 13 degrees of the York Rite. The last three are Knights Templars degrees. Okay, Temple of Solomon, right? The poor Knights of Solomon, and so on. Yorkshire is a white pig or swine, right? Ever heard someone called a swine? So the wordplay testifies against them. That possibly has to do with the Masons being a global group, but at some point the Illuminati took over. The king's spies paid off, or maybe it was from the beginning of masonry. I wouldn't be surprised if it was from the beginning. They're builders. They deal with the material, and they do seem to be their way of thinking forces them to focus on the material. Are they looking for a greater spiritual meaning in it? Perhaps, but certainly, the stone the builder rejected, the offspring of David, right? The root of David, the offspring, and not Solomon, right? David's the warrior. Solomon's the builder who caused his greed and lust for women, caused the empire to split. You know, even Solomon in all his glory isn't like one of these lilies of the field. Lilith. Okay, obviously Jesus wasn't referring to some kind of evil harlot, and obviously she's trying to put herself above Solomon. And that's another way to look at it. Of course, the Statue of Liberty, the whore that ruled the beast. Reproduction is in the Bible time and time again. I suggest you read it if you don't believe me. Okay, so for whatever reason, the Yoruba was under the York, right, Yorkshire or something like that in the dictionary. Okay, and I do believe I read something along the lines of that the English, when they came, they reached out to the Yoruba first. The Igbos just outsmarted them and became more dominant. I have nothing against the Yorubas. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some are Christian, some are Muslim. Moving on. See, Haru at noon in his glory, no on Heliopolis, no. See, Haru is in his glory at noon. He said, I want you to see the truth. I want you to see the light. No ulterior motives. See me for what I am. Haru, the patron of the blind. Some people might stare at the sun and go blind. That might be why. He's the patron of the blind. There's a story where Seth claims that he raped him, to win. I mean, imagine how despicable that is. That also gives away who they are. Africa is some of the least friendly people to homosexuality. It was the Greeks. It was the French. It was the English. Some of the Romans, the Greco-Romans, they were the homosexuals. They were the gays. Sodomy is a sin in the Bible. Who agreed with them and who didn't? You know them by their works. And I'll get into Johnny Cash, Johnny Cush. I won't back down. God's going to strike you down or something like that. Okay, Kam Obos, Come Ebos, the M is the ark, or Ka of Ebos. Know the truth. I give my light so you can live, okay? And it's going to kill me eventually. It's killing me slowly. They're screening me out slowly like the sun. Okay, here we go. Huntingdon is a place on the old English map. Hunting Dawn. Hunting the light temple, the sunrise temple. Cambridge, right? Come bridge. Okay, bridge the gap, a bridge to hell. You can draw a lot of interesting parallels to that. Okay, and of course it leads us to Oxford, right? The bull, the ox that fords the river. Oxford, Ford Motors, and so on. And afford, can you afford it? Right? The fat ox can. He's like, look, can he afford to take care of you? Look at my belly. Look at that skinny African walking around the poor like he's Jesus or something. The Christos, the Christ, the anointed of the oaths. Jesus, Jah says there is one Christ, King of kings. Of all the anointed, there is one greatest. Of all the kings of Judah, there is one greatest. And of course, well, let's just say I am like John compared to him. And it's safe to say John is greater than I. Okay, London, line dawn, line down, Line done. Okay. Hunting done. Hunting dawn. Line of dawn. So we're hunting the bloodline of the sunrise, like the sheriff of Nottingham. Look, he's not. It's not in Ham. No matter what you say, it's not in Ham. It's not in Ham. Not in Ham. Well, even if you look at it, we're not looking in Ham, which obviously they are. You know, I'm Ham and Shem and Japheth together. I'm all three. Okay. I'm white and black and Semitic. Okay. It's hard. It's hard for people to put together that Semite part. Let's just say I'm Semitic, from more than one side of my family, most likely, but certainly from at least one. All right. Share wood forest. You know, share the wood. You know, share the fucking the what do you say? Share the wealth, right? Share the wealth, right? You can look at women as human resources. Share the wealth. You know, we all want to have a turn on her. That's what they used to do with the pretty slave women. They used to put them in the master's house, I read in that one video, and they would all have a turn. You know? And if you think I don't want to make them pay for it, and that I'm some nice, calm guy all the time, that's not the case, okay? I have my moments where I'm screaming my head off, okay? I have my moments, okay? Pale horse, and on it sat death. The beast that rode the horde that rode the beast, Lilith, Jezebel, and so on. Reproduction, okay? Rabbi in hood, Robin Hood, right? Rabbi, the teacher is concealed, right? David and Goliath, David. It's strange how this vid thing comes in. I make the video in the day or my nose looks crooked and there's different reasons I do it, you know, and I pretty much go to sleep, you know, earlier than most, we'll say, and I wake up earlier than most. Okay, so I put these things out there. Obviously, it sets the stage for them to ambush me and do, you know, but who cares about me, you know? This is about my honor. It is my honor to give my life so that you may live and so that you may find it. I am your ladder. I am your beacon of light. Jacob, Eri, Jack, Obi. Cub, a lion's cub. They want a Jack Obi, the bad spell. Cub, the good spell. Jack and the beanstalk. This is your way to heaven. You listen to me. You consider what I say. Sacred morality. You know when I get carried away. And believe me when I say resisting them in all forms of fashion based on divine insight, sacred morality, prayer. Consider they can read your thoughts. Consider their technology, you know, and don't doubt that there is technology out there that will confound righteous people, you know, or at least come close. Okay, so star backwards is rats. Okay, rats versus the Hawk King. Now, obviously, I'm part Jewish. I'm not saying, oh, Jews are rats. They're rats. That's not my argument. Hitler's argument was that because he wanted to replace all the Jews because he believed in the pure white, northern, far away from the Mediterranean bloodline. I'm part Northern European. I'm not saying all of them are bad. Okay? I showed you a picture of my great-grandfather who had a blue beret and white clothes on. And he ended up living at my parents' house because he, even though he reached the highest degree of masonry, he wasn't rich. And I'm sure you can ascertain why that is on your own without me saying because they forsake the good fucking people. Okay? So Aryan, right? Aryan, Ra in. All right, went over the 7th month and the 9th month. The diamond is the falling star. The diamondback rattlesnake. Adamantius, okay? Adamantium, the diamondback snake, okay? Vampire, dragon ancestors preying on people in spirit, night, and darkness. I showed you the Dracula, and so on. Okay, Draco, you know, people have pointed this out before to me, and I just elaborate on it. Second Samuel, son of El, son of the Lord. David's mighty man. Okay, Benaiah was a great warrior. Great warrior. He was held in greater honor than any of the 30, but he was not included among the 3. I went over that in the other video. I'm kind of running out of time, so I'm going to have to skip over that. That's 2 Samuel, I believe it's 2:23, or it might be 23:23. Yeah, I think it's 2 Samuel 23:23. Okay, David's mighty man is what is titled in the Student Bible. All right, moving on. Satan, right? Satan, a consensus, right? He took a census and it was wrong and God didn't approve. Why didn't God approve? You know, and this has to do with population control and stuff like that, right? Naturally moving in the spirit with God guiding you versus what happens when you start knowing things, the wrong things? You know, if you know that there is a naked woman next door and you know how to get away with raping her, you know, are you more tempted? You know, and this is just one small despicable example. Okay? So black Egyptians' army and pharaohs, just like in African war cultures, and the manual labor, right? So there's the black guys tended to be, and not always, the guys in the Egyptian army, according to their own figurines and so on. The Nubians were assimilated in the army and so on, to add more black. And other people were manual laborers, you know, the whites, the Semites, and some of the Asiatics, okay? They did the manual labor a lot, not always. Generally speaking, this is how it worked. Okay, and this is why you have them built a certain way. They're built from generations of studying the craft, the trade, the tricks of the trade, apprentices, builders. These were the builders. These were the manual workers. Jesus' other name is Emmanuel, right? Manual labor, carpenter, right? Did he say, I came to bring carpenter's tools, or I came to bring a sword? So there's a lot of this stuff to consider. His mother may very well have been white. Don't know. It would make sense. Jesus came to the non-black people to say, look, you know, you don't have to feel so jealous of these black pharaoh martial arts guys, with all due respect, not racist, you know, just come to God, accept your spirit. I'm coming to you. You know, I gave my life in your empire, okay, not theirs, okay? So, you know, you could feel blessed. All right, moving on. Ruth 3:15. Talks about threshing, the threshing floor. Okay, she throws herself, she gets all done up with perfume, nice clothes, lays at the feet of an honorable man. He says he's going to find her a suitable helper, a kinsman redeemer, I believe he called a redeemer of kinsmen. Okay, so the threshold, it can be seen as a gateway. The threshold, a gateway. Okay, in which psychological or physiological effects take place. Think Nimrod, the doorman, the gateway to Babylon versus the gateway to Egypt. Okay, when Abraham was in Ur, which was part of the Babylonian Empire, the Greater Babylonian Empire, you know, he met Melchizedek in kind of secret societies. Cool. Okay, but when Moses was in the gateway, you know, Ramses, toward the border of Egypt, right, and he leaves with the people and crosses the Red Sea. Incidentally, the Red Sea goes down and it kind of goes into an angle into the ocean. But we'll get into that. Well, I don't have time for that. See, Obed, basically the gateway, right? The gateway to Egypt versus the gateway to Babylon. Egypt went astray, so did Babylon, right? Cush begot Nimrod. Nimrod founded Babylon. Eventually, Babylon the Great is fallen. The Assyrians and the Aryans, right, raid Babylon. Okay, what happens to Egypt? Okay, the sea people, they kind of fail. You know, eventually the Persians, all these Babylonian types, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Hyksos are the first ones, you know, in the 15th dynasty and so on. Eventually all these non-black-ish, non-African culture, non-African people come. You know, I'm not racist. Again, this is just the truth. All right, so the 2 Samuel 24:21-25, the threshing floor, anatomy, Anakin, right? Anna, tummy, an Anakin, Anakin, right? Abs, you know, obese, you know, Luciferian. Again, we're all African. It's about which path you're going to take. And we all stray from the path. You know, our family lines have strayed from the path to a certain extent. You know, everyone has bad apples in their family. Do you follow the bad apples just because they have the gold at the time? Or do you return to the divine order, you know, and follow God? Luciferians of all races can't measure up spiritually to get in, barring spirit. Okay, I went over that. Add ease, right? Hades, right? Add the ease, the underworld, the fence in, underdog, under heaven. Jacob Airy, Jacob's ladder. Rush heaven to buy more time to live in hell. So, the lake of fire. Spartacus, cry X is. Spartacus, Spartu cause. Crixus, cry X is. You know, Osiris is. Mayat, divine order at ease. Horn, the horn symbolizes the king and the strength of blowing the horn. What's shaped like a horn is an elephant tusk. I suppose you can make a tusk out of a horn. I'm running out of time. So, energy, inner E. Again, you know, I'm not racist. This is just how it is. You know them by their works. Who has the money? Who's the rich people? And so on, right? Does it slice exactly that way? Well, there's Oprah, there's Russell Simmons, there's all kinds of rich house niggas, not saying anyone particularly. You get it. It's about the spirit. Being African alone doesn't save you. Thank you.